Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I can't think of a more important hearing than the one today to really talk about how we supply and afford, build affordable housing in our communities. And I appreciate my colleague from North Carolina, because I agree. I think there needs to be streamlined permitting at the local and state and federal level. This is part of the problem, and we need to address it. There's 3 pieces of legislation, though, that I have introduced and around housing, because I see the need for it in my state. It's workforce housing. It is all of the above. And it is important that we're working together. And I hope we are able to pass this legislation. I just came from ENR, and there's a lack of housing for our wildland firefighters. I mean, it touches everybody in our community, and we just have to focus on it. One area I want to talk about is the Federal Home Loan Bank System. According to the Nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office, the federal home loan banks receive a $7 billion annual subsidy, with nearly all of it passed along to their member banks, insurance companies, and credit unions. The vast majority of that subsidy has no impact on housing. Their mission is housing and economic development. I have legislation that I've introduced, the Federal Home Loan Bank's Mission Implementation Act. I'm doing an updated version of it. And what I'm recommending is that we at least double the Federal Home Loan Bank's contribution to the affordable housing program from 10% to 20%. That's all we're asking right now. Mr. Joseph, can I ask you, based on that, if we were able to double the contributions to at least 20%, would it help LISC build more homes?
Absolutely. I think doubling it would add several $100 million more annually to this account. That would provide critically needed gap financing for rental housing, because that's primarily what it's used for right now, and we're seeing bigger gaps. But it's also can help affordable home ownership opportunities as well, because that's an eligible use of the funds. So it's unequivocally yes, that would be a great tool.
Right, and I thank you, because some of the biggest challenge is the gap in financing, right? Cobbling together financing to build housing is the biggest issue that I hear in my state. Is that true?
That's absolutely true,
Yeah. And so the next area that I also know that is important for this financing, and a key piece of building affordable housing, is the Home Investment Partnership Program. Home is the largest federal affordable housing block grant in the country. My bill, the Home Investment Partnerships Reauthorization and Improvement Act, would improve the ability of home to support home ownership, including providing flexibility for service members, their heirs, community land trusts, which we're trying to do in Nevada right now. It would also provide local authorities the ability to pledge 5 times their current allocation for investments. This bill would help thousands of hardworking families in Nevada and across the country purchase and stay in their homes. Mr. Joseph, can you talk a little bit about the importance of home in building affordable homes, and how does the legislation and an update of the home program help in today's world of the challenge of building affordable homes?
Sure. Yeah, the home program is really one of the HUD's flagship programs for affordable housing development. It really is that glue. It's that missing piece often we're seeing with our housing credit properties where there are gaps. We're using the home dollars to help solve some of those gaps. But it's so flexible. It can be also used for single-family home construction, homeowner rehabs, tenant-based rental assistance. So it's really a great flexible tool. But what we really like about your legislation is increasing the authorized funding levels, because there's just not enough to go around. Establishing the loan guarantee program you referenced to better leverage the federal resources, streamlining the administrative requirements, making them consistent with other federal programs, and expanding the ability of nonprofit housing organizations to really access some of these funds. So a lot of great proposals.
Thank you. And then finally, I want to talk about manufactured housing. This is an area that I also have been focused on, because I think it is part of the solution to our affordable housing needs. And I've appreciated working with the ranking member, Senator Scott, and ensuring the needs of manufactured homeowners are included when we're talking about housing. But manufactured home communities are home to about 8.5 million Americans. And it's a very important source of affordable housing. A few weeks ago, HUD announced a request for applications for a new program to fund new roads, water, sewer, tornado shelters, and other infrastructure improvements for manufactured home communities. I'm proud that I led the creation of this program, the Preservation and Reinvestment Initiative for Community Enhancement, which was enacted in 2022. But it was only funded for 1 year. And my goal here now is to make it a permanent key piece of funding. Mr. Josephs, can you talk a little bit why this is just as important for our manufactured housing?
Well, again, the flexibility, right? The price grants can be used to construct, to reconstruct, or repair manufactured housing. It can be used to improve the facilities, as you mentioned, the infrastructure to help protect the health and the safety of the residents. So it can also be used for relocation assistance and eviction prevention. So these kind of funds are critical, and that sector certainly needs support.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thanks, Senator Cortez. Senator Vance of Ohio is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.